Join us on this quick product tour where we'll create and test a simple app with a button that changes color. Along the way, you'll see for yourself how Thunkable's intuitive interface and powerful features can revolutionize the way you work. We'll start on the projects page where all your app projects live. Here you can display your projects as a list or a grid. Click Create New App or enter an existing project. Let's explore the Design tab of a Thunkable project. It's here where you build your app's user interface and define how your app looks and feels for your users. In this lesson, we'll focus on the features that are most important for building a solid Thunkable foundation. We'll dig into additional features as they come up in future courses. The icon menu on the far left of the page changes what is available for you in the left panel. Starting at the top is the Designer. With the component tree at the top and the component library below it, this is where you design your app's user interface. This is where you'll likely spend most of your time when you're designing an app, so we'll return here shortly. Below that is Data. When clicked, you see the project's data sources. Connecting your app to a data source such as Google Sheets, Airtable, Webflow, or a local table allows you to work with your stored information. You can click the plus sign to connect a data source. Next up is Assets. This is a list of your project's media files, such as images or videos. You can click the plus sign to import additional media files. If you have a PDF or an HTML file, this is the place to add it. And if you're using a third-party design tool such as Figma, you can import those files directly too. And then Settings, which are crucial for a successful app build. Many of these project settings are most pertinent when you're preparing to publish your app, but there are a few that are worth exploring early in the app building process. For one, the default app layout. This is where you can set your app's default layout to phone or tablet view. It is crucial that you set your project's default app layout before you add components to your app screens. Some other settings that become more important as you create a more powerful app are configuring integrations with Firebase, Cloudinary, and Google Sign-in with OAuth. We'll dig into those settings as well as the ones pertinent to app publishing in future courses. For now, back to the Designer. At the bottom is the Components library. This is a list of all of the UI components available for you to add to your app's screens. What's a UI component, you ask? Great question. A UI component is a visual element that you can add to your app. Buttons, labels, images, switches, and videos are all examples of components you can use when designing your app's user interface. Let's drag and drop a button from the component library onto the screen. Each component you add to your app has associated properties that you can change to modify the look and feel of your component on the screen. These are available in the Components Properties panel. You can also change a component's properties programmatically using blocks. You'll see an example of that in a few moments. Click on a component within your screen to display its unique Properties panel on the right. Here you can modify the properties of the selected component. For example, we can modify a button's text, font, color, etc. to adhere to your personal preferences or brand guidelines. You can resize the components and drag them to reposition them within the screen. Above the components library is the project's component tree, a list of all the screens in your app. When you add components to a screen, they are nested underneath. Here is our app screen with the button we just added nested below it. Within the component tree, you can duplicate screens and components using keyboard copy and paste shortcuts, and drag and drop components to move them between screens. These features are especially handy if you've designed a component to your liking and want to replicate it on a different screen. To keep the component tree organized, you'll want to rename each component with a standard naming convention you maintain throughout the project. We'll use the pattern, component type, in this case button, component name. You'll thank yourself for this when we move to the Blocks tab and build the app's functionality. Let's hop over there now. Click Blocks in the upper left. Every app is simply a sequence of events. The best apps define an elegant sequence that the user doesn't even notice. A great sign-in flow, for example, can happen in a fraction of a second, but the logic behind it is a work of art. This is achieved through Thunkable blocks, the best way to build an app without knowing how to code. Thunkable blocks are pre-built snippets of code that make the complicated coding methods of native mobile apps accessible to anyone. In the left panel is the familiar component tree with the available block categories below. Let's take a sneak peek into each of them before building some functionality into our button. Clicking on a UI component in the component tree opens a drawer with component-specific blocks. When we click on the button we added earlier, you'll find the block drawer contains the blocks specific to button behaviors such as clicking. Each UI component has a unique group of associated blocks. Underneath the core heading are subcategories of commonly used blocks that include but are not limited to opening screens, setting up logic, reformatting data, and performing calculations. Blocks in the App Features category offer control of mobile device-specific functions and non-UI components. Examples include sounds, timers, cameras, and alerts. The advanced blocks require additional setup compared to the other blocks, but they elevate the functionality of your app tremendously. These include web APIs, Bluetooth, in-app purchases, and any component blocks. A quick note about the blocks in the Any Component drawer. With these blocks, you can universally change component properties or even add or delete components based on user behaviors, so they are incredibly powerful. Let's work with the blocks and add some simple functionality to our app's button. Click the button name in the component tree to access the component-specific blocks. Drag the When button Click Me click block and drop it into your workspace. This event block tells your app how to react based on the user's behavior. In this case, when the user clicks the Click Me button. Next, we need to pair this event block with a response. We need to define how we want the app to react when the event is triggered. Click the button in the component tree again, scroll down to the Set Button Click Me Background Color to block, and drag it into the existing block. Connecting blocks will make a satisfying click noise. If it doesn't click, it doesn't go. There's no need to worry about breaking anything. Use the drop-down menu to select the color you'd like the button to change to when a user clicks it. Have we done this correctly? There's only one way to find out. We need to test it. It is Thunkable app building best practice to test your app regularly as you build. This can be done in your browser and directly on your mobile device. To test in your browser, click the Web Preview button. Click the button you designed and developed. Pretty impressive, eh? But what really sets Thunkable apart is the ability to live test your app directly on your mobile device. Simply download the Thunkable Live app from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, log in, and click Live Test on Device to experience the magic. Thanks for tuning in for Exploring Thunkable, a quick overview. Check out Thunkable Academy's How to Build Your First Thunkable App course, where you'll build on these foundations to create an impressive directory app with Thunkable that will take you from zero to hero in fewer than 30 minutes. And remember, if you can think it, you can thunk it.